धावैन्दवासना तत्त्वाधिका तत्त्वमयी तत्त्वमर्थस्वरूपिणी सामगानप्रिया सौम्या सदा शिवकुटुम्बिनी सव्यापसव्यमार्गस्था सर्वा पद्विनिवारिणी स्वस्था स्वभावमधुरा धीरा धीरसमन्विता चैतन्यार्घ्यसमाराध्या चैतन्यकुसुमप्रिया सदोदिता सदा तुष्टा तरुणादित्यपाटला दक्षिणा दक्षिणाराध्या जरस्मेरमुखाम्बुजा कौलिनी केवलानर्घ्य कैवल्यपददायिनी स्तोत्रप्रिया स्तुतिमती श्रुतिसंस्तुतवैभवा मनस्विनी मानवती महेशी मङ्गलाकृतिः विश्वमाता जगद्धात्री विशालाक्षी विरागिणी प्रगल्भा परमोदारा परामोदा मनोमयी व्योमकेशी विमानस्था वज्रिणी वामकेश्वरी पञ्चयज्ञप्रिया पञ्चप्रेतपञ्चाधिशायिनी पञ्चमी पञ्चभूतेशी पञ्चसङ्ख्योपचारिणी शाश्वती शाश्वतैश्वर्या शर्मदा शम्भुमोहिनी धराधरसुता धन्या धर्मिणी धर्मवर्धिनी लोकातीता गुणातीता सर्वातीता शमात्मिका बन्धूककुसुमप्रख्या बाला लीला विनोदिनी सुमङ्गली सुखकरी सुवेशाढ्या सुवासिनी सुवासिन्यर्चनप्रीता शोभना शुद्धमानसा बिन्दुतर्पणसन्तुष्टा पूर्वजा त्रिपुराम्बिका दशमुद्रा समाराध्या त्रिपुरा श्रीवशङ्करी ज्ञानमुद्रा ज्ञानगम्या ज्ञानज्ञेयस्वरूपिणी योनिमुद्रा त्रिखण्डेशी त्रिगुणाम्बा त्रिकोणगा अनघाद्भुतचारित्रा वाञ्छितार्थप्रदायिनी अभ्यासातिशयज्ञाता षडध्वातीतरूपिणी अव्याजकरुणामूर्तिरज्ञानध्वान्तदीपिका आबालगोपविदिता सर्वानुल्लङ्घ्य शासना श्रीचक्रराजनिलया श्रीमत्त्रिपुरसुन्दरी श्रीशिवा शिवशक्त्यैक्यरूपिणी ललिताम्बिका एवं श्रीललिता देव्या नाम्नां सहस्रकं जगुः इति श्रीब्रह्माण्डपुराणे उत्तरखण्डे श्रीहयग्रीवागस्त्य संवादे श्रीललिता सहस्रनामस्तोत्रम्.
Thank you, ma. So let us begin with the invocation for Srimad Bhagavatam. Please join. Satchidanandarupaya Vishvotpatyadihetave Tapatraya Vinashaya Shri Krishnaya Vayam Numaha Yam Pravrajantamanupetamapetakrityam Dvaipayano Virahakatara Ajuhava Putreti tanmayataya taravobhineduhu Tam sarvabhuta hridayam munimanatosmi Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya Janmadyasya yatonvayaditaratah Chartheshvabhignaswarat Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye Muhyanti Yatsurayaha Tejo Varimridam Yatha Vinimayaha Yatra Trisargo Mrisha Dhamna Svena Sada Nirasta Kuhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi Dharma projita kaitavotra paramaha nirmatsaranam satam vedyam vastavamatra vastu shivadam tapatrayonmulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamunikrite Kim va parairishvaraha Sadyo hridyavarudhyate trakritibihi Sushrushubhistakshanat निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलं शुकमुखादमृतद्रवसंयुतं पिबत भागवतं रसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः. So after hearing from Shaunakji as to what was happening with Bhagavan Sri Krishna after he left Hastinapura and then he reached Dwarka Nagari, a very beautiful detailed account, almost as good as an opportunity to meditate on Bhagavan in his all Alankara Vibhushita Tattva, especially when so eagerly waited upon by the Dwaraka Vasis to find Bhagavan Sri Krishna amidst them after such a long break that Bhagavan Sri Krishna had spent in Hastinapura. Now, Shaunakji wants to pull the attention of Suta Mahashaya, saying, "Hey Sutaji, I am more interested in that part of the story." Which part of the story? That is where the connect is created to Bhagavata Mahapurana. So Shaunakji, in the 12th chapter of the first canto, he begins, he says, Shaunaka uvacha Ashwathamnopasrushtena Brahmasirshnorutejasa Uttaraya hato garbhaha Ishena jivitah punaha. That garbha of Uttara that was aimed by Ashwathama to be destroyed, which was actually destroyed, which was re-enlivened by Bhagavan. Ishena ajivitaha puna. That which was rekindled by Bhagavan Sri Krishna in Uttara's garbha. तस्य जन्म महाबुद्धेः कर्माणि च महात्मनः निधनं च यथैवासीत् सप्रेत्य गतवान् यथा तदिदं श्रोतुमिच्छामः गदितुं यदि मन्यसे ब्रूहि न श्रद्दधानानां यस्य ज्ञानमदाक्षुकः ब्रूहिनः श्रद्धधानानाम, to us who have come unto you with complete shraddha in your words, in the scripture of Srimad Bhagavat Mahapurana, please enlighten us with that aspect of the story as to how it began with Parikshita, how he was saved, how he was protected in Uttara's Garbha. Whenever Shaunakji, you have to remember that Shaunakadi Mahashaya, great people, they have lived a complete life and lived a very successful life. And having lived that, having given those responsibilities to their children, they had taken into Vanaprastha. So not that they did not know these stories before. So whenever Shaunakadi Mahashayas, they ask such questions, it reminds me of that little kid with that inquisitiveness because they love that part of the story. Wherein they must have heard it many times, but they're lying down in the lap of their mother and then they look up at the mother and they say, Mama, can you tell me that story? That part of the story? That can you go into the detail? The mother said, okay, how many times will you hear it? Okay, fine. I will say that from that perspective. So Shraddha Dhananam, we thoroughly trust and have the shraddha in the Katha Shastra as well as in you, O Suta Mahashaya. So we have come here to Shrotum Ichhamaha. We all, not just me. It is not Shrotum Ichhami, Shrotum Ichhamaha, plural. We all are sitting here eagerly to listen to that part of the story. Can you please? And probably, I'm just visualizing here. Probably Shaunak Mahashaya turned around to the rest of them around him and said, "Are you all right? Are you?" And everybody must have said, yes, yes, yes. We are eagerly waiting for that part of the story. Now, looking at that inquisitiveness, that is why I say, please turn the videos on, because when you start reveling in the story, the kathakara also, the pravachanakarta also feels inspired to talk. Otherwise, see, looking at the screen with blank spaces, it feels very arasa. The rasa of Bhagavata Shastra is gone. So, tadidam shrotum ichhamaha gaditum yadi manyase. If you think that we deserve listening to it. See, that is another beautiful part. There is no duragraha. Agraha is good. Agraha is inquisitiveness and asking for more. But duragraha is to hold on to something and keep pestering about the same thing again and again and again, which we may or may not understand at this point if it is good for us or not good for us. Especially when we go to a guru. So that humility is also shown. It is not like, I can throw tantrums and therefore guru has to listen. Guru is that जो गुर्राते रहता हो वो गुरु है. So to them all, Shaunak ji asking this question, Suta Mahashaya feels inspired. He says, yes, yes, yes. Suta uvacha अपीपल धर्मराजः पितृवत् रञ्जयन् प्रजाः निःस्पृहः सर्वकामेभ्यः कृष्णपादाब्ज सेवया. That Dharmaraja Yudhishthira, who had become nisprihah sarvakamebhyah, he had all his desires transcended. How? Because he had become old. Just because you have become old, there is no guarantee of that kama vasana to be exhausted. Vruddhoyapi grihitva dandam tadapi na munchati ashapindam. Where does it come? Ramcharitmanas? Bhajagovindam. Right. But how did he then transcend these desires? Is it? Krishna Padabja Sevaya. That bhakti unto Bhagavan Shri Krishna, Sakshat he was there, and serving him, worshipping him with that worshipful attitude, he had completely burnt away the desire and its impact on him. And he had all the systems established to rule Hastinapura and the rest of the kingdoms as a Prajapati or a Samrat. Sampadah kratavo lokaha mahishi brataro mahi jambu dvipadhipatyam cha yashascha tridivam gatam. The entire Jambudvipa, entire earth was ruled by Yudhishthira. Jambudvipa is not just, Bharatakanda. Jambudvipe, Bharatavarshe, Bharatakande. So the span of it was from what is today Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan, from there to Mongolia and down the what we call South East Asia, all of that was the Bharatavarsha, Bharatakanda. But here, an entire Jambudvipa was under his Prajapatyam. Prajapatyam, he being the emperor of all of it. And then he says something very beautiful here. How was Yudhishthira's devotion unto Bhagwan Sri Krishna? The sixth shloka, worthy of memorizing it. It's such a sukta. Kim te kama suras sarpaha mukunda manaso dvijaha adijahrurmudam rajnyaha kshuditasya yathetere. Mukunda manasaha, he became so devoted to Bhagavan Sri Hari, how just like kshuditasya yathetere, somebody who is hungry, famished. What is one thing that will be on the top of their mind? Food. Where can I get food? I'm hungry. Right? With that same ekatanata and focus, Yudhishthira had established that devotion to Bhagavan Sri Hari in his heart. Now, Shaunakji, you were asking me about Uttara, Hargarbha and Parikshita. So this is what happened. Matur Garbhagato Viraha Satata Bhrugunandana Dadarsha Purusham Kinchit Dahyamanostrate Tejasa Angushtamatramamalam Sphurat Puratamaulinam Apichya Darshanam Shamam Tadidvasa Samuchutam. So while he was still in his mother's womb, Uttara's womb, when shot at by Ashwathama with his arrow Brahmastra, it was like burning inside the Garbha. It was tormenting. What a fellow Ashwathama. That of all the things that he could attack, he is attacking the Garbha specifically with Brahmastra. There, while that was happening, right in front of him, he saw Dadarsha Kinchit, he saw something shining. How was he? Angushta matram amalam sphurat purata maulinam. Angushta matraha, just as the size of this angushta, the thumb, a bluish hue glowing, Parikshita could see. And then what was he doing? He had Srimad Dirgha Chaturbahum Tapta Kanchana Kundalam Ksatajaksham Tadapanim Atmanas Sarvatodisham Paribhramantam Akulabham Brahmayantam Gadam Muhu. Srimad Dirgha Chaturbahum. He was with 4 arms, and with each arm he had all the Shankha Chakra Gada Padma. But here he was holding that Gada which was also glowing. His eyes were red. Red because he was seeing that Sishu who is yet to be born being tormented by that Brahmastra. Bhagavan Sri Hari did not like it even a bit. Ksatajaksham is that red ice. So he started swinging the mace, the gada, the club, and rotating it so much of speed. It appeared as though that it was a disc in itself. And with that, he started running around Parikshita from all directions, protecting him, that he was appearing as though all around Parikshita at the same time. Astratejasvagadaya nihara miva gopatihi vidhamantam sannikarshe Paryaikshataka ityasau. That is the nomenclature for Parikshita right there. Paryaikshataka ka iti asau. Kaha iti asau. From then on, he started wondering, who is this little, is it a smurf? They're also blue, small, tiny, but they're glowing. He was glowing, running all around him. Parikshata, he was looking with a very keen interest to evaluate who this person is, who is destroying that Brahmastra and its effect and providing a sense of, embalmed feeling all around me. Vidhuya tadameyatma bhagavan dharmagub vibhuhu mishato dashamasasya. So he had just finished his 9th month staying in mother's womb. This was the 10th month, Dashamasasya. Because of the blessings of Bhagavan Sri Hari, he was protected and he got delivered. Tataha, after he was delivered, this news was given to Yudhishthira. Which Yudhishthira? That who was busy in the first 3 shlokas of Suta Mahashaya, the description, that he was busy re-establishing dharma. This news was given to him. Tasya pritamana raja viprair dhaumya kripadivihi jatakam karayamasa vachayitva cha mangalam. Hiranyam gam mahim graman hastyashvan nrupatirvaran pradat swannam cha viprebhyaha prajatirthe satirthavit. There is something called prajatirtha sankalpa. What is prajatirtha sankalpa? When the child is born, before even the umbilical cord is cut, the well-wishers of that child give the donation and the alms to whoever necessary. So as soon as he heard that news that a child is born to Uttara, he immediately assembled all of these people, called for them, and gave Hiranyam, Gam, Mahim, Graman, Hasti, Ashwan. Whoever was in need of whatever, he fulfilled all of that. See, the blessings of the elders and well-wishers, it is such a systematic thing in the samskara. When Garbhadhana is done, that is a samskara. Then Simanta, that is a samskara. Even before the child's umbilical cord is for the welfare of that child, there is already dana performed. It is not slowly after some time in the nearest weekend possible that was organized. Immediately, takshana. And then he called all those who knew the Jata karma, not Jata karma, Jatakam Karayamasa, the horoscope of this Parikshita who was born, this child who was born. And then he says to all of them who are there, he says, he will definitely be a great devotee of Bhagavan Sri Hari. And because he is protected by Bhagavan Sri Hari himself, he should be from today called Vishnurata. Vishnurata, in the 17th shloka, you see, Tasman namna Vishnurata iti loke brihachravaha bhavishyati na sandehaha mahabhagavato mahan. He was officially named as Vishnurata. Later, in the 30th shloka, when we come there, we will see why he is known as Parikshita, also known as Parikshita. So Vishnurata, aka Parikshita. Vishnurata was his official name. Yudhishthira Uvacha. So Yudhishthira, who assembled all these people who knew the science of Jyotish Shastra, he called them and asked them to predict depending on where he was born and the time precise that he was born in. See, this is not a fancy ghapla. This is a science in itself. Even before we go into the entire science of this Jyotishya Shastra, at least try understanding and appreciating the understanding of our Rishi Sampradaya. In the Rishi Sampradaya, their knowledge, I'll just pose this question to you and give you a moment, pause to think about. In our Hindu calendars, Panchanga, time of a day is calculated in two folds. One, based on the Earth's rotation around its own axis and the moon's rotation. As the moon is rotating, its position with the 27 constellations that are around. Calculation according to the moon's transition is called Tithi. Calculation of the Earth's rotation around its own axis while going around the sun, that was decided as Divasa. Sunrise to sunset, which is what we now today follow. What is a day? Sun rises, it is day. Sun sets, it is night. That was called Divasa. Tithi, on the other side, is based on the moon's rotations, moon's movement. And therefore, when we decide the moon's waning and waxing, we have the Prathama, Dvitiya, Tritiya. That is the Tithi. And many times we get confused looking at the calendar. Oh, there are several layers of confusions there. You know, there is Ramanavami or Janmashtami or the various days of celebrations. India time is different. Most of us bring in a calendar while coming from India. We pick up a calendar, you know, the Tamil calendar, Maharashtrian Kal Nirnay. It is not just calendar. It is a brand of calendar printed that many Maharashtrians believe in. Then Panchanga, then the Vikram Samvat or Shalivahana Samvat Shaka calendars. So we bring our calendar. And whatever the calendar says, every single festival, when in Saket we are celebrating it, but Swamiji, the calendar says. our ancestors knew GPS system. How amazing is that? That the calendar and the influence of these planetary motions to be calculated in depending upon where you are located on this globe. So the tithi varies. Almost for every festival, that divasa where that tithi with the sunrise, that would be considered as the tithi of that particular day for that particular celebration. In India, because the sun has not yet risen, but the Chandra movement, the moon's movement has already gone into that constellation, therefore the tithi has already occurred. And here there is a sunrise where that moon movement has brought in that tithi. Sometimes it is ahead, sometimes it is a day later. So one has to understand the movement of the tithi in the divasa based on the geographical positioning of each individual wherever they are. The longitude and the latitude, I always get confused, altitude and latitude. Yeah. So it gives you the exact positioning. Based on that, the time. Oh, the time is such a beautiful concept that we will see in the third canto. We will see it as an elaborate discussion on that. Time as such. They have gone to calculate 10 to the power of 20 minus 20. That minuscule amount. And the shortest possible time calculated is called Trisa Renu. Just for this amazement of that knowledge and wisdom that they had, how many things that they have taken into consideration. First, Earth is not the center of this creation. Sun is the center of this creation. Therefore, it is called Saurya Mandala. Second, Earth or all these planetary objects are not flat. Give them that due credit. How amazing that when we find people still arguing that flat earth theorists, it is not theory, it is some kind of a vehement insistence, duragraha. Tens and thousands of years ago, they knew it. And Navagraha, each one of the planetary positions and their movements, they had calculated it with precision. Where they can predict years ahead of time when there is going to be a solar eclipse, a lunar eclipse. Do you know in the Mahabharata war, there are 2 eclipses mentioned? Within those 18 days, there are 2 eclipses mentioned. The point that I'm trying to make is their understanding of their entire creation, nature, and its movements were very, very precise. So the Shraddha that I am demanding is from this understanding that what they are talking is not out of their, cap. The processing is so beautiful in it. Oh, I don't believe in it. Who cares whether you believe it or not? A tiny, puny little intelligence, and you think that you are the decider of the, having not had a clue about what the Shastra is speaking about, have the audacity to say, I don't care what the Shastras say? You may not, but it doesn't invalidate. See, even in this horoscope, there are two parts to it. The first part of it, most of the people who learn this Jyotish Shastra can do it precisely good. That is the mathematical equations of it. So precise they are that there are computer apps and even apps on cell phone that you can download to create horoscope. You don't even need to put in the effort of creating that horoscope. You have apps for it now. You just have to find the exact coordinates of the place and the exact time, and it'll churn out the Jataka horoscope. That is the easy part. Now the bottom line arrived at after the Jataka chart is created. There are, I think, about 5 different charts that have to be created, and those 5 charts have to be put in together, and now you have to consolidate all these equations and their bottom line that is arrived at, and then start interpreting it. In this interpretation is where lies the sadhana of the one who is interpreting it. This is where many people miss the variation. So such skilled experts were called by Yudhishthira to know the prediction or the future of this newborn Vishnurata, the one who is protected by Bhagavan Sri Vishnu. So Brahmanaha, they sat down, put the entire horoscope. There were no apps in those days. They were given some time, so they had to put all these in perspective, and then they said, Partha Prajavita Sakshat Ikshvakuriva Manavaha Brahmanyam Sattasandhascha Ramo Dasharathir Yatha. Hey Dharmaraj Yudhishthira, this child that is born, who you have named as Vishnurata, he will be as great as Ikshvaku in taking care of the people of his kingdom. And he will be as Satyanishtha as Bhagavan Sri Ramchandraji himself. Dasharathir Yatha. Yesha data sharannascha yatha hyaushi nara shibihi yatha shibi raja shibi chakravarti ushi nara naresha. There were several in the lineage of Shibi, and his name was Ushinara. Now this Shibi Chakravarti, he was known for giving Sharanagati to even a dove to protect it from a hawk. And when the hawk said, "It is my meal," he was ready to give a portion of his body. And that the hawk was not satisfied with any portion. He said, "I want the heart. That I hear is the sweetest part, and I cannot take any other." And Shibi was ready to give that portion. And this portion of the story, which comes in the Puranas, somehow reflects in Merchant of Venice. Talk about plagiarism. With no mention of credits given. Anyway, coming back. Dhanvinam agra niresha tulyascharjuna dvayoho hutasha iva durdarshaha samudra iva dustaraha. He would be both Sahasrabahu, Sahasrarjuna, and Arjuna put together. He would be as skilled as them in bow and archery. He would be as fierce as fire, and as vishal, as vast as samudra. Samudra, the oceans. Mrugendra iva vikrantaha nishevyo himavaniva titikshur vasudhe vasau sahishnur pitaraviva. Mrugendra iva vikrantaha, as victorious, as valor filled as a lion in the forest. And nishevyaha himavan iva. Himavan is the storehouse of all great fortune. He will be like that, a storehouse for the entire generation. Titikshur vasudheva asau. He will have the titiksha, forbearance, as bhumi itself. And sahishnuhu, forgiveful and loving as the parent to a child. And they describe a great deal of his life. And I'll bring your attention to the 27th and 28th shloka. Takshakadatmano mrityum dvijaputropasarjitat prapatyasya upashrutyah muktasangah padam harehe jignasitatma yatha atmyaha munir vyasa suta dasau hitvedam nrupagangayam yasya. Now his life will take some very major turn at the very end of his life, where he will get cursed to be brought down by Takshaka because of some shapa. But that shapa he turns into a blessing, takes a prayopavesha on the Ganga Tira. There, Muner Vyasa Sutadasau, blessed by Vyasa Maharshi's son Shukacharya, he will gain Achanchala Bhakti in Bhagavan Sri Hari, and thus abiding in that bhakti and in that wisdom of Bhagavan Sri Hari, he will leave this body as the greatest king and the greatest devotee. Iti Ragnya Upadishya Vipra Jataka Kovidaha. These scientists of understanding the Jyotish Shastra, the science of Jyotishya, thus having given the entire details of Parikshita, they also say the 30th shloka. What did they say? Sayesha loke vikhyataha parikshaditi yat prabhuhu garbhe drishtam anudhyayan pariksheta nareshviha. This Vishnurata will be famous. They predicted what name he will be famous with as well. He will be famously known as Parikshita. Why? That individual who has seen Bhagavan Sri Hari in the Garbha itself as that Angushtamatra Purusha, in that blue glowing glory that he had seen. Since his birth, every person that he sees comes across, he first scans them, evaluates them. Is this that fellow that had protected me? So the one who is constantly evaluating to understand the essence that has protected him, pariksha meaning evaluation. The one who constantly does the pariksha to find that Paramatma in everything, such one, ikshata, constantly desirous to find that. Therefore, Parikshita, he will be known as Parikshita. So, Vishnurata, aka famously known as Parikshita. So this Jataka Kovidaha, those who were the scientists of the Jyotish Shastra, they laid down this beautiful life of Parikshita in that horoscope for the demand of Yudhishthira to be understood. So as soon as they were done, whatever was the puja, archana that had to be done to these people that had predicted and given the Jataka, they were also yathochita. Satkara Sammana puja was done, and having received that from the king, they left. In midst of all of these Pandavas, this child grew to become a young child. So about 8-9 years had passed by. To offer to all those people that died in the Mahabharata war and to do prayaschitta for having destroyed that many lives, Yudhishthira wanted to perform Ashwamedha Yaga. And he saw that there was not enough in the coffers to perform this Ashwamedha Yaga. So he called in all the brothers and said, this is what is my sankalpa. We have to do this prayaschitta. What should we be doing? Then they all put their heads together and then they said, hey, the 33rd shloka, Dhanam Prahinam. There was enough wealth somewhere in the north, where there was, in the olden days, there was a king named Marutta. He had done a great yaga. In that yaga, he had given so much of wealth to the Brahmanas that they could not carry it back home. So they left it right there. So whatever is available on the land which is unclaimed, it belongs to the kingdom. Supposing you had not written your will. If you have not, please write. Because if it is not there in place, everything will become Uncle Sam's. And then those who have left behind, they have to fight for it in the court to prove and get it back, if they can get it back. Now, Marutta or the Brahmanas had left it and they had not claimed it. So they all suggested, why don't we travel all the way, get all that wealth? With that wealth, it was so much sufficient that Yudhishthira performed 3 Ashwamedha Yagas. And he had also called Bhagavan Sri Krishna for that Ashwamedha Yaga to be performed. Now, while this was happening, suddenly after these many years after Mahabharata war, at least about a decade had passed by. Their uncle, Chachaji, Chitappa, who Vidura, he came back to Hastinapura. What happened when he came back? That part of the story we see in the 13th chapter. So we'll see that next week in the 13th chapter. As our online class tradition has started, we will maintain that. We will do the Hanuman Chalisa. Then I will request Brahmachari Hari to chant the 11 times Mahamrutyunjaya mantra, and then we will conclude. So for a change this week, I'll ask Hari Chaitanya to do the Hanuman Chalisa also. There is a particular tune that he chanted which I have become very fond of. So I'm asking him to, requesting him to do that. Thank you, Hari.
Thank you, Swami. Shri Guru Charan Saroj Raj Nij Man Mukur Sudhari Baranau Raghubar Bimal Jasu Jodayaku Phalachari Buddhihin Tanu Janike Sumiro Pavan Kumara Bala Buddhi Vidya Dehu Mohi हरहु कलेस विकार जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीस तिहु लोक उजागर राम दूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन बरण विराज सुबेसा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा बिराजे कांधे मूंज जनेऊ साजे शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगबंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबे को आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे को रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा बिकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे रामचंद्र के काज संवारे लाय सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुबीर हरषि उर लाए रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरत ही सम भाई सहस बदन तुम्हरो जस गावे अस कहीं श्रीपति कंठ लगावे सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद सारद सहित अहिसा चमकुबेर दिगपाल जहाते कवि कोविद कहि सके कहाते तुम उपकार सुग्रीव ही कीन्हा राम मिलाय राजपद दीन्हा तुम्हरो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना जुग सहस्र जो जन पर भानु लील्यो ताहि मधुर फल जानु प्रभु मुद्रिका मेलि मुख माहि जलधि लांघि गए अचर जनाहि दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हरे तेते राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे हो तना आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे सब सुख लहे तुम्हारी सरना तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना आपन तेज सम्हारो आप तीनों लोक हांकते कांपे भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे महावीर जब नाम सुनावे नासे रोग हरे सब पीरा जपत निरंतर हनुमत बीरा संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावे मन क्रम बचन ध्यान जो लावे सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे सोई अमित जीवन फल पावे चारों जुग पर ताप तुम्हारा है पर सिद्ध जगत उजियारा साधु संत के तुम रखवारे असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे अष्ट सिद्धि नौ निधि के दाता असबर दीन जानकी माता राम रसायन तुम्हरे पासा सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा तुम्हरे भजन राम को पावे जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे अंत काल रघुबर पुर जाय जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई और देवता चित्तन धरई हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा जो सुमिरै हनुमत बलबीरा जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई जो सत बार पाठ कर कोई छूट ही बंदी महासुख होय, जो यह पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा। होय सिद्धि साखी गौरीसा, तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा। कीजय नाथ हृदय मह डेरा, कीजय नाथ हृदय मह डेरा। पवन तनय संकट हरण, मंगल मूर्ति रूप। राम लखन सीता सहित, हृदय बसहु सुर भूप। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। उमापति महादेव की जय, बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय। महामृत्युंजय मंत्र। ॐ त्र्यंबकं यजामहे सुगंधिं पुष्टिवर्धनम्, उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात्। 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 ॐ त्र्यंबकं यजामहे सुगंधिं पुष्टिवर्धनम्, उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात्।
Thank you, Hari. Before we wind up, please keep continuous prayers, strengthen yourself, and be the support, be the strength, be the stability for everyone around you. Those who are immediate family, those who are your friends, and that is how we will get through what we are going through. And loneliness, frustrations, and such things will stop bothering us if we become strong from within. So hope and pray that that strength is what guides us. Let us wind up with the Shanti Path. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayaha, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet, Asato Ma Sadgamaya, Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityor Ma Amritam Gamaya. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate, Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Be safe, stay strong. Hari Om.